She was still there, sitting inside the abandoned train carriage, her pale face framed by broken glass, her lips moving, but the sound was wrong. A whisper, a child's voice, distant and hollow, like it wasn't coming from her at all, but from the walls themselves. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you followed a voice you weren't supposed to hear? A voice that feels like a warning but also like a trap. This is the story of the girl who talks inside the abandoned train. The railway line had been shut down for nearly half a century. The tracks were rusted, the weeds tall, and the carriages stood in silence, rotting in the shadows of the forest. Nobody used this path anymore, nobody sane at least. But locals whispered. They always whispered. They said at night, one carriage wasn't empty, one carriage wasn't dead. In its shattered windows you could see her. A little girl, no more than 10 years old, sitting alone on the wooden bench. She didn't move like normal people. Sometimes she flickered, like a candle flame ready to die, and always her mouth moved. Always the whispers followed. Travelers who ignored the warnings and stepped aboard claimed the same thing. She wasn't speaking in any language they knew, but the meaning still sank into their bones. It was like their minds understood words that weren't words. One man, an old hunter, swore that she told him not to walk home that night. He laughed at the absurdity, ignored the warning, and left the train behind. By morning, villagers found his body tangled in the ravine, his lantern shattered beside him. Coincidence, they said, just coincidence. But no one really believed that. The story spread. The girl wasn't just a ghost. She was something else, something that wanted to be heard. And so curiosity pulled people back to that forgotten railway line. Students, thrill-seekers, desperate wanderers. They all wanted to hear what she had to say. Some came back with nightmares. Some didn't come back at all. One autumn evening, two friends, Daniel and Marcus, decided to test the legend. Daniel was the skeptic, the one who rolled his eyes whenever Marcus talked about curses and spirits. Marcus was different. He had grown up hearing the whispers from his grandmother, who claimed the girl's voice once saved her life. Just one night, Marcus begged. We'll go, we'll listen, we'll prove if it's real. Daniel hesitated, but his pride wouldn't let him back down. Fine, but when nothing happens, you're buying me dinner for a month. They set off just as the sun sank below the trees. The forest swallowed the light, and soon the abandoned train came into view, dark, skeletal, its carriages slouched like corpses. The air smelled of rust and damp wood. Marcus grinned nervously. Ready? Daniel muttered. This is ridiculous. But he still followed. The first carriage was silent. Empty benches, broken lamps, dust that rose in clouds with every step. The second was the same. Their flashlights cut across peeling paint and old cobwebs. Nothing unusual. Then they reached the third carriage. The moment Daniel placed his foot on the step, the temperature dropped. The flashlight flickered, and in the far corner she sat. The girl. Her dress was pale, her hair long and tangled. She didn't turn her head, didn't blink, just sat, her lips moving soundlessly. Marcus froze. His voice trembled. Do you hear it? At first, Daniel shook his head. But then, the sound slithered in. Soft, low, like breath against glass. A whisper that wasn't in English, wasn't in German, wasn't in any language Daniel knew. And yet the meaning carved itself into his mind. Don't leave the forest tonight. Daniel's chest tightened. She's telling us not to go back. Marcus swallowed hard. Then we don't. But Daniel snapped back. It's just suggestion. Our brains making patterns. She's nothing but an illusion. Still, his hands were shaking. His voice wasn't steady. The girl finally lifted her head. Her eyes glowed faintly, not like fire, but like the reflection of moonlight on water. She stared directly at Daniel, and her lips formed new words. This time, the whisper was stronger. You've been marked. Daniel stumbled back. What the hell does that mean? The lights of their flashlights sputtered out, plunging the carriage into blackness. The only thing left was her whisper, circling them, threading through the wooden walls. One will leave, one will stay. Marcus grabbed Daniel's arm. We should go, now! They ran. Out of the carriage, across the forest path, their boots crunching on dead leaves. The night air bit into their lungs as they finally collapsed near the edge of the village. Neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Marcus whispered, "She was real. You heard her, she marked you." Daniel tried to laugh it off, but the sound cracked in his throat. It's nonsense. Just tricks of the mind. But even as he said it, he felt it. The weight. The mark. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. The whisper followed him. In the corner of his room. In the ringing of the phone. Even in the hum of the refrigerator. Always the same phrase. One will leave, one will stay. By morning, Daniel's skepticism was gone. He returned to Marcus, desperate for answers. Marcus's grandmother sat with them, her wrinkled hands trembling as she recited the old story. "The girl," she said, "was not from here. Long ago, a train derailed near the forest. Passengers died, but not all. A child was missing. They never found her body. The whispers began after. She is not a ghost. She is a messenger. Her words are not random. They are warnings. But sometimes they are also curses." Daniel's heart pounded. "So what does it mean?" "Why me?" The old woman stared into his eyes. "Because she chose you." Silence fell. Daniel wanted to believe it was a joke, a folktale stretched too far. But deep down, he knew the truth. He could still hear her voice, and that was only the beginning. The days that followed blurred together in a haze of fear. Daniel stopped going out at night. He stopped answering calls. Every sound twisted itself into her whisper. Marcus tried to calm him, but nothing helped. On the third night, Daniel's window cracked open by itself. He swore he saw the shape of a girl standing by the trees, her face hidden, her lips moving. The whisper grew louder. Time is running out. He slammed the window shut, heart racing, but he knew he couldn't escape. Marcus came the next morning. "We need to go back," he said firmly. "If we don't face her, she'll never stop." Daniel's eyes were hollow, sleepless. "Back? Are you insane?" Marcus grabbed his shoulders. "She gave you a choice. One will leave, one will stay. We need to understand what that means." Against his own fear, Daniel agreed. They set out that night, lanterns in hand, walking the same path back into the forest. The train waited for them, silent, broken, breathing. As they climbed inside, the air thickened again. The girl was already there, sitting in the same spot, as if she had never moved. Her lips moved faster now, the whispers wrapped around them. Marcus stepped forward. "What do you want from us?" For the first time, the girl's whisper formed into clear words, words that clawed into their bones. One leaves this place alive, the other stays forever. Daniel's breath caught. "Stays? What does that mean?" The girl's head tilted, her eyes shimmered. The train is hungry. The floor groaned beneath them. The windows pulsed with shadows. Daniel felt the world tilting, pulling him down into something endless. Marcus grabbed his hand. "Don't listen, it's a trick." But the girl stood now, her small figure flickering between solid and transparent. She walked toward Daniel, her bare feet leaving no sound. Her whisper was inside his skull. "You are marked. You cannot run." Daniel's knees buckled. "Why me?" he shouted. "Why not him?" The girl's gaze shifted to Marcus. Then she smiled, a cruel, childlike smile. "He believed. You did not." Marcus froze. "What?" "Because you mocked her, Daniel. She chose you." The carriage rattled violently. The lights burst overhead. The whispers grew into a storm, surrounding them, dragging them down. Daniel screamed, clawing at the door, but it wouldn't open. Marcus tried to pull him free, but the girl was already reaching, her hand cold as ice, pressing against Daniel's chest. In that instant, Daniel understood. The mark wasn't a symbol. It was a sentence. The floor split. Shadows rose like water, swallowing his legs. Marcus pulled harder, shouting his name. Daniel's eyes locked on his friend. "Go! If you stay, it takes us both!" Marcus refused, tears streaking his face. "I won't leave you!" But the girl's whisper cut through. One leaves, one stays. The shadows surged. Marcus was thrown backward, the carriage door slamming shut between them. Daniel's last sight was the girl's hollow eyes, inches from his face, her whisper filling his lungs. And then, silence. The next morning, villagers found Marcus unconscious at the edge of the forest. No sign of Daniel, no trace. When Marcus woke, he swore Daniel had been pulled inside the train. But when the search party returned, the third carriage was gone. Only two remained. Marcus tried to explain, but nobody believed him. Nobody ever does. Still, sometimes, when the wind cuts through the trees, you can hear it. A whisper, a girl talking from a carriage that no longer exists, and if you're unlucky enough to hear her, she might just choose you next.